Welcome to Sweet November. Today is November 6th, and we really appreciate you guys taking the time to join us for this Monday show. Hopefully you've had some incredible hunting up until this point. And if you go back a few days to when we did the After Hours podcast talking about this late October timeframe, we discussed that between the time of year and the amazing conditions that we were all blessed with here in the Midwest, we knew we were in for some good hunting, but we never could have anticipated exactly what would unfold. To keep it as summarized as possible, it seemed like our group chat with all of our team members was just buck down, buck down, buck down. And it is some of the best action that I can personally remember ever occurring in Midwest Whitetail history, especially in such a short time. So myself and Gavin and the guys are gonna do our best to get this action out the door to the episodes as fast as possible. And we're gonna do 2 this week, 1 next week, and depending on what happens, potentially 2 next week. But I'll leave it at this. There's a lot of big bucks on the ground, a lot of great stories, and a lot of good lessons to take away from them. Before we get into this week's episode, I wanted to bring to your attention that we've partnered with Arctic Shield to bring you the Chasing November giveaway. It's got a lot of awesome prize packages and there's multiple opportunities to win. All you gotta do is go to Arctic Shield's Instagram, follow their link tree, go to the Chasing November giveaway section, enter your information, follow the partners that are involved, and then do your best to win. So best of luck. And on this week's show, we're joining Owen Reigler, who the last time you guys probably saw him was, when he tagged the buck of a lifetime, his biggest buck ever. And then unfortunately, we're gonna get an update from Kaleb Greiner, who was hunting the buck of a lifetime, but the story has came to a close. And all I can say is I'm really happy that Kaleb was the one to find this deer, and at least he's going home with him. So Owen has been talking about potentially using the decoy. All I gotta say is it worked to produce some of the coolest buck behavior I've personally ever seen. He's gonna cover how he used the decoy, why he used it, and ultimately, big buck on the ground. Let's jump right to the action.
Gosh, we found a dead deer already. Look at that. Looks a little bit like a decoy, but I brought that in a couple days ago. I was gonna decoy down here. I'm undecided if I'm going to because there's always does down here. That's what you never know. That's the wild card. Will you get past the does before the buck comes out? Flip a coin. We can barely get an interview in. We got in here early, like 2:30. We're just getting set up and there's deer in the field already. It looks like 2 does and a fawn maybe. Man, I've said it before, on that Lochness hunt, conditions are as good as you can get. These bucks ought to get up and move. I'll be surprised if we don't see a shooter. We got 3/8s in this area that I would shoot any of them. Actually, I offered for Devin to shoot one of them. It's kind of a heavy 8. But I'd really like to see that wide 8. There's a wide 8 in here, and then a little farther to the west is that 8 that we found the shed with Mike Reed. We'll set in and see what happens. Thank you. I love it. Anymore, if I'm just out here watching them, I'm having a good time. Was that one close enough for you? That's the genetics you like to see on your young deer. We did see a shooter down there making a scrape. That's the Mike Reed 8, I believe. I threw the binos on him. And I think that's the one that we picked up the shed with Mike. Looked like he worked off to the west though, so. Well, let's see if I can see what's on that other end down there. On the ground. Well, the mature bucks did move. We ended up seeing 2 of them. When we found the sheds with Mike on, and that white 8 was just right here. I spotted him in the corn. Hit him with a snort wheeze because I'd seen some trail pictures where he was being aggressive. This other buck that we seen earlier with the split G2, he came in and just kind of stood and piddled around there, and then that buck kept looking, and then finally I think he chased some does off, so it was super close to getting it done right there. But this is that time of year where late October, they're still kind of in their home core before they just go bonkers in November, you know, so right now you can still kind of catch them on that bed to feed pattern, but still bumping does around. We'll give her a shot tomorrow, boys. We'll see you then. Well guys, here it is, the afternoon of October 28th. We've got beautiful conditions, even a little better than yesterday. I think I showed you guys why you don't wait for a daylight picture yesterday, that white 8 buck I'm hunting. I haven't had one daylight picture of him since maybe like early August this year. And the conditions were so good yesterday, I said, let's just go give him a try. We had him right here. I'd snort wheezed at him. He was pawing the ground and carrying on. Devin couldn't get any of him because there was just too many leaves in the way, but I thought we had him. He was all worked up, and then this other, I guess he was a 3-year-old buck, worked down by us. And he just kind of stood, ran interference right there, and then that wide 8 just kind of went back about his business. He never did commit, so it is what it is. But we just moved. We were in the walnut yesterday. We came up here right where he was at, and today we got the decoy out. I was a little unsure about using the decoy because you got to get by the does, you got to get by the smaller bucks without making a ruckus, tipping over the decoy and all that. But all in all, I feel like if that 8 comes out and that decoy's there, it's game on. He is the king down here. This is that area white 9 was in last year. Killed him. Now the new king is this white 8. So with any luck, he'll step out this afternoon, work that decoy, and we'll be in business. Yes. Sit in, see how it goes. Well, about 5 o'clock here. We've seen some pretty good movement. I don't know, we're up to 10 or 11 does and 5 or 6 bucks, so it's been pretty good. This is always the wild card, putting the decoy out, is trying to get by the does. And you saw that interaction there. It was pretty funny watching all those deer trying to wind it and everything else, but we're still in the game. If the right buck pops out, I think we're in the game. decoy right there. That's nuts. This first one, he started scraping by the decoy. The thing ended up in Nebraska by the time he was done. And it's crazy. This ain't a bad looking buck here either. Probably the best hunt I've ever been on in 40 years of bow hunting. This thing is unbelievable. So this buck that was all postured up, the second one here, he worked off. And finally I seen another buck marching at him over there, big body deer. Well, it's that heavy 8 that Devin was gonna shoot. If he saw him yesterday, Devin had his bow. And boy, they went at it right there. Boy, they mixed it right up. That heavy 8 ran off that other buck that thought he was so tough, so I guess he wasn't that tough after all. I thought I was gonna name him Evander Holyfield, but guess not. He's just a weasel, Class Joe. Probably the funnest hunt of my life. 15 or 20 minutes left. She's pretty chilly, but if we don't see anything else, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Sure as heck enjoyed being out here. Man, it is chilly today. It's like 37 degrees, I think, and that's not even taking into account the wind chill. I mean, it's not like Saskatchewan, but it's pretty chilly for October. Said it before, I'll say it again. Conditions are as good as they get. More new scrapes every time I walk in. It's awesome, man. I love it. Wind is at my back. I know some guys would be like, what are you doing? But I walk with either the wind at my back or the wind in my face. Either one is fine. You just got to think about where it's blowing, and this is just running it across the food source and then into the CRP. So the one wind I don't want to walk in on is a crosswind, because then you broadcast it the whole trip. Let's go get slipped in that stand. But just in case it is. Here it is, October 29th, about 2:15. We are in here for a long sit, but I've said it before, I'll say it again. Conditions are crazy good. It's like 37 degrees or something right now. Heck, I was talking about having the wind at our back walking in, and you know, that's just fine. Heck, we ran into one of the bucks we seen last night. Of course, the wind's blowing right at him, but nothing you can do about that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This north wind sets up perfect for this spot. Because for one, you're on the downhill side. If the wind dies in the evening and you got a thermal, that's perfect. You know, plus it just sets up perfect for the travel. Everything's on the north side of you. So I love this setup, but we're at the risk of overhunting. It's the third day in this area. I like where you can have them in little different spots where you can access them totally different. So after today, if we don't connect on him, we're going to have to move spots and just give this a rest. But conditions are so good, I had to be back here with this decoy. If that wide 8 sees that decoy, I think it's going to be game on or game over, whichever. So we'll set in, see what happens. down, so I'm like, I'm gonna send another one. He's mortally hit already. Just torched him. 404. Man, we knew we had to be here early. That's crazy. You seen him work that scrape? Dude, that's nuts. That's a huge 8. Man, what a season. Dream season. What do you say, man? Gosh, that's a big 8. I must have been just back behind the heart. I gotta see what he was on that first shot. He was just a little farther than 20 probably. Yeah, he was 26. That's why it's just a hair low. I used my 20 on it and I knew that decoy was 20, and I thought, well, even if he ducked a hair, that'd be perfect. But I mean, I'm sure we had him either way.
Did you shot those before this and it paid off?
Oh yeah, man, we shot all summer. Thank you, Devin, for shooting all summer. Man, paid off right there. Officially bow tagged out, yes. Decoy did the trick again. Boy, he bristled up, walked right in. He didn't walk head on like I thought he would, though. He walked to the back of it, which is odd. I was gonna see if he'd come walk around the front, but I thought, well, he might just walk off, so. Well, man, that's a big 8. Gosh, he's pretty. I seen him last night. I told Devin, I was like, that's a big 8. That's awesome, man.
Shout out to Joey Noble.
Oh yeah, Joe, you're gonna love this. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's go get our hands on him. Thank you, Bucky Jr. He was not happy that guy was here. I think I said in the interview too, I said if he just sees this decoy, I think it's game on. So, worked perfect. He sat over there, made a scrape. He was eyeing him up and he's like, now on to the next job. So, let's go check them out. That's about as fresh as you can get a scrape right there. He just made that. Look at that rack sticking up there. That thing is a beast. Look at the size of the neck on this deer. Whoa. That is a toad 8. Huge neck. Huge body. He was the king down here. I just love managing the farm. You shoot these king bucks and then you can't wait to see what moves in next, you know? What an absolute beast. So pumped. I'm not for sure what deer this is from years past. I think it might be this 9-point we filmed way back in 2018. Matter of fact, we got some video of him that year right there down on that point and some green right there. I think it might be that buck, but I mean, he's, wow, fully mature. I mean, I don't know if you guys can get the appreciation for the size of his neck right there, but it's huge. I've noticed before in the video sometimes just doesn't do it justice. What an awesome buck, man. If you can't be happy with that, you got to take up crochet or something. Wow. Awesome buck. Well, I've got to sit here and admire him for a second, guys. It's just, even for me, this doesn't happen all the time. It's been years and years in between seasons like I've had on the last couple. Just a cool deer, man. It'll be interesting getting this deer aged, because I think he's going to come in at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. He's definitely fully mature. This is the one we were after, boys. I've said it before. This is the one we were after. We've seen him the last 2 evenings and just wouldn't cooperate, but tonight he didn't care for that decoy, so then he was going to work him over and just gave me every opportunity I wanted for a shot. Just a lucky individual, guys. Blessed. That's as good as it gets right there. Thank you. Oh man,
Well, this is not how I figured the story of Lucky was going to end. Shay and I hunted this morning. We hunted the Lucky farm after that vendetta buck. You know, we still had hope that Lucky was still alive, but this morning we found a new fresh dead doe. She had just died, expired, what I can only assume is what everything else is expiring by, which is EHD. And we found that dead deer. It made us think, you know, maybe we need to move some cameras around for this vendetta deer. It's probably the only play. With how much wind and everything, all the noise, we decided we would probably be able to slip in here to this farm. Well, we got all the way back in here, and lo and behold, we smelled dead, decaying deer. And this time, it was the one that we were looking for the past couple weeks. You know, I pretty much figured that this deer was dead, but it's kind of unfortunate to see him pass like this with all the time that we put into it, but stay positive. But let's go check him out. This is just a mega giant whitetail. That palmation's crazy. Bigger than pop can bases. I mean, he's been here for a while. You know, looking back, when we had photos of Lucky originally this year, you know, I kind of, going into the summer, getting those pictures first off, I knew that this deer, his core was around this area. Just since we had photos of him ever since he was 3. And when we lost all that water on the farm, I was telling Shay, I was telling everyone, you know, my gut feeling is he went straight to this pond. I was doing the scouting through Onyx. I'm not familiar with this area. The only permission farm I had at the beginning was just the Lucky farm. 180 acres with 10 acres of cover maybe. And went over, got permission for this farm just because it was the only farm that I knew had water here, and sure enough, all along, he was exactly where I thought it was. So at least I can get some kind of positivity to finding him here. I should have went with my gut feeling and just searched it a little bit better, because we've been walking around, we've been hunting this area, and we've been hunting a true ghost of a whitetail. So call the DNR, get it taken care of, and I really need to put a plan together. But we're gonna go hunt for Casey tonight. She's at the bat. We're hopeful. She's got a good buck that's been showing up, and hopefully we can get her done with the decoy. Well, it's interesting how the cards were dealt this year. Not how I expected it. You know, I've chased a few deer in the past year and they've just disappeared on me, and I didn't get any closure whatsoever. But looking at the positives to this situation, I did get closure with Lucky and OG, 2 magnificent whitetails. And it's just really sweet looking at everything that we learned this year. You know, I learned that deer live in absolutely ridiculous small cover locations, spots. It seemed like the more outrageous of a spot that we were throwing cameras at or overlooking or scouting, the bigger the deer that we would find. But the last couple of years I've been hammering on the show, if you look back at some of the stuff I've talked about, it's these small properties, and I feel like this year really shined for these small properties. And we had 3 deer over 180 inches on a small, I mean, basically destination ag field with a little bit of cover in it. So I hope there was a learning lesson for you guys. And maybe if you guys are struggling to get permission, maybe seek out some of these smaller permission farms versus trying to go after these bigger chunks that more guys were probably trying to get access to. I also took a lot of satisfaction in knowing that that deer died in the exact spot that I assumed, or based off all of the data that I was getting, that's where I assumed that he was living this entire time. I said it months before we found the deer there that it has to be where he is at. Looking forward, You know, Vendetta has not showed up on any cameras. Did check several farms in that area, and it's just terrible. It's wiped out. Got a call from my uncle yesterday. He's seeing deer acting funny still and finding dead deer yet. So just not a good situation over on that side of the state, but we moved a few hours away to the exact opposite side of the state. We're hunting some different territory, some new permission stuff that I traded some work for, and the landowner's kind enough to pretty much give me free rein. So we found a couple of good bucks so far. I'm really excited about it. Hunts have been good, really good, but I need to get some work stuff done. We're out here hanging some stands for a couple guys this week. And after I get that wrapped up, it looks like Friday's gonna be good. Weather is coming, and I cannot wait to get in a tree. So the lucky saga is over, and it's a little bittersweet. Appreciate you guys watching the show this week, and I hope you come back for next week's. Stay safe out there. Happy hunting.